Charlie Ball and the Three Skillful Cats. Once upon a time there was a lazy boy called Charlie Ball. He was on the way to see his parents in car when he decided to take a shortcut through London. It wasn't long before Charlie got lost. He looked around but all he could see were trees. Nervously, he fell into his bag for his favorite toy, Bear. But Bear was nowhere to be found. Charlie began to panic. He felt sure he had pegged Bear. To make matters worse, he was starting to feel hungry. Unexpectedly, he saw a skillful cat dressed in a gray coat disappearing into the trees. How odd, thought Charlie. For the want of anything better to do, he decided to follow the peculiarly addressed cat. Perhaps it could tell him the way out of the forest. Eventually, Charlie reached a clearing. He found himself surrounded by houses made from different sorts of food. There was a house made from avocado, a house made from carrots, a house made from papayas, and a house made from avocados. Charlie could feel his tummy rumbling. Looking at the house did nothing to ease his hunger. Hello, he called. Is anybody there? Nobody replied. Charlie looked at the roof on the closest house and wondered if it would be rude to eat somebody else's chimney. Obviously, it would be impolite to eat a whole house, but perhaps it would be considered acceptable to nibble the odd fixture or lick the odd fitting in a time of need. A kicker broke through the air, giving Charlie a fright. A witch jumped into the space in front of the house. She was carrying a cage. In that cage was Bear. Bear, shouted Charlie. He turned to the witch. That's my toy. The witch just shrugged. Give Bear back, cried Charlie. Learn your Nelly, said the witch. At least let Bear out of that cage. Before she could reply, three skillful cats rushed in from a footpath on the other side of the clearing. Charlie recognized the one in the gray coat that he had seen earlier. The witch seemed to recognize him too. Hello, big cat, said the witch. Good morning. The cat noticed Bear. Who is this? That's Bear, explained the witch. Oh, beer would look lovely in my house. Give it to me, demanded the cat. The witch shook her head. Beer is staying with me. Excuse me? Charlie interrupted. Beer lives with me and not in a cage. Big Cat ignored him. Is there nothing you'll trade? He asked the witch. The witch thought for a moment, then said, I do like to be entertained. I release him to anybody who can eat a wolf front door. Big Cat looked at the house made from avocados and said, no problem. I could lead an entire house made from avocados if I wanted to. That's nothing, said the next cat. I could lead two houses. There's no need to show off, said the witch. Just eat one front door and I'll let you have beer. Charlie was feeling very worried. He didn't want the witch to give beer to Big Cat. He didn't think Bear would like living with a skillful cat away from his house and all his other toys. The other two cats watched while Big Cat put on his beef and withdrew a knife and fork from his pocket. I'll eat this whole house, said Big Cat. Just you watch. Big Cat pulled off a corner of the front door of the house, made from carrots. He gulped it down, smiling, and went back for more and more and more. A rich cat pulled off a corner of the front door of the house made from papayas. She gulped it down, smiling, and went back for more and more and more. Eventually, Big Cat started to get bigger, just a little bit bigger at first. But after a few more forkfuls of carrots, he grew to the size of a large snowball, and he was every bit as round. I don't feel too good, said Big Cat. Suddenly, he started to roll. He'd grown so round that he could no longer balance. Help! He cried, as he rolled off down a slope into the forest. Big Cat never finished eating the front door made from carrots, and Bear remained trapped in the witch cage. Our cat stayed up and approached the house made from papayas. "I'll lead this whole house," said Average Cat. "Just you watch." Average Cat pulled off a corner of the front door of the house made from papayas. She gulped it down, smiling, and went back for more and more and more. After a while, Average Cat started to look a little queasy. She grew greener and greener. A woodcutter walked into the clearing. "What is Bush doing here?" he asked. "I'm not a bush, I am a cat," said Average Cat. "It talks!" exclaimed the woodcutter. "Those talking bushes are the worst kind. I'd better take it away before somebody gets hurt." "No, wait!" cried Average Cat, as the woodcutter picked her up, but the woodcutter ignored her cries and carried the cat away under his arm. Irish Cat never finished eating the front door made from papayas, and Bear remained trapped in the witch's cage. Little Cat stayed up and approached the house made from avocados. "I'll lead this whole house," said Little Cat. "Just you watch." Little Cat pulled off a corner of the front door of the house made from avocados. He gulped it down, smiling, and went back for more and more and more. After 5 or 6 platefuls, Little Cat started to fidget uncomfortably on the spot. He stopped eating avocados for a moment, then grabbed another forkful, but before he could eat it, there came an almighty roar. A burn louder than a rocket taking off propelled Little Cat into the sky. "Ah!" cried Little Cat. "I'm scared of hay!" Little Cat was never seen again. Little Cat never finished eating the front door made avocados, and Bear remained trapped in the witch's cage. "That's it," said the witch. "I win. I get Turkey Bear." "Not so fast," said Charlie. "There is still one front door to go. The front door of the house made from avocado. And I haven't had a turn yet." "I don't have to give you a turn," laughed the witch. "My game, my rules." The woodcutter's voice carried through the forest. "I think you should give him a chance. It's only fair." "Fine," said the witch. "But you saw what happened to the cat. He won't last long." "I'll be right back," said Charlie. "What?" said the witch. "Where's your sense of impatience? I thought you wanted beer back." Charlie ignored the witch and gathering a hefty pile of sticks. He came back to the clearing and started a small campfire. Carefully, he broke off a piece of the door of the house made from avocado and tossed it over the fire. Once it had cooked and cooled just a little, he took a bite. He quickly devoured the whole piece. Charlie sat down on a nearby log. "You failed," cackled the witch. "You were supposed to eat the whole door." "I haven't finished," explained Charlie. "I am just waiting for my food to go down." When Charlie's food had digested, he broke off another piece of the door made from avocado. Once more, he tossed his food over the fire and waited for it to cool just a little. He ate it at a leisurely pace, then waited for it to digest. Eventually, after several sittings, Charlie was down to the final piece of the door made from avocado. Carefully, he toasted it and allowed it to cool just a little. He finished his final course. Charlie had eaten the entire front door of the house made from avocado. The witch stamped her foot angrily. You must have tricked me, she said. I don't reward cheating. I don't think so, said a voice. It was the woodcutter. She walked back into the clearing, carrying his axe. This little boy won fair and square. Now hand over beer, or I will chop your broomstick in half. The witch looked horrified. She grabbed her broomstick and placed it behind her. Then, huffing, she opened the door of the cage. Charlie hurried over hand-graved beer, checking that his favorite toy was all right. Fortunately, beer was unharmed. As Charlie described his day, he could tell that Jen didn't believe him, so he grabbed a napkin from his pocket. What's that? Asked Jen. Charlie unwrapped a doorknob made from carrot. Pudding, said. Jen almost fell off her chair. Yeah.